Right, so today's really about how to break through that growth barrier to grow and scale your company with less stress and without working harder. Big challenge for most business owners. So my promise to you is I'm going to show you how to double your company in the next 12 to 36 months. How to grow and scale faster and with less stress, right? So that you can make an exponential impact, not only in your company, but in your market as well. This is a key one. And then the third one is how to decommoditize your business so that you attract premier clients who are willing to pay what you ask and lift your margins. You always want to grow a profitable business, right? So the higher the margins are, the faster you can grow. So who's this for? This is for business owners who are managing their own companies and who have already a bit of a stable client base. They're not starting up as such. Have a small team of people, usually 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 10, but mainly reporting directly to them. And whose business relies on them for the day-to-day survival and growth. This is also for business owners who are fully involved in working in that business, right? And who've reached a growth ceiling. But they want more growth, want more freedom, want less stress. So, Doug, who am I? I'm not going to go through this in detail. I'm the founder of Vantage Coach Business Accelerator, which is an education, training, and coaching platform for underserved, established small businesses. I consider myself a breakthrough strategist. I have fairly substantial experience in a JC50 firm, but I've also owned a couple of small businesses of my own, so I know what it takes. To start and grow a small business. And my mission is really about helping growth-oriented business owners of established small businesses who want to up-level to a private enterprise that does well and does good. Right. Okay, so what I've discovered is this. Every business goes through 5 stages of growth. And at each stage, there are predictable challenges and obstacles that you as the business owner must overcome, to get us through to the next stage. If we don't overcome those challenges, and if we're focusing on the wrong thing in the stage that we're in, we won't be able to move through to the next stage of growth. So the 5 stages are this, and every business moves through this consecutively. So it starts off with infancy, then helter-skelter, then order, then orchestrate, and then scale. And once you have that leads you to freedom and prosperity, which is the reason why most business owners start their business in the first place. Yeah. So in the infancy stage, that's when you're starting up. It's all about business viability. In other words, can I design a product or service that people actually want? Right? It's about the business model. How much do I charge for it? How do I sell it? And how do I position myself in the market? Right? If you get that right, the outcome of that is people want your product and service. There's a demand for it, right? Then you go through to the helter-skelter phase. So once you've got a product that people are buying, now it's all about sales. And you need to reach a sufficient level of sales to support yourself and your business. So this is all about trying to build a steady cash flow and building up a bit of a client base. But you, the owner, are the hero in the business. You start building a team of people and so on, and put some systems, some basic stuff into place to increase your personal leverage. And you start to parcel the work out according to whoever there is, right? So at this phase, it's all about getting people to help you. You're growing through the help of other people. And this is next phase then is where you start to make quite a big leap. Yeah, you start to think more about developing others in your business, getting people into your business that can run a lot of the things for you. And you start to arrange people more in the line of functions like operations or delivery, logistics, finance, etc. Right? And here it's about starting to create some systems and controls so that you can have predictable, repeatable delivery. Right? But as you're doing that, your costs also rise, so you have to increase your focus on your profitability and your pricing. Right? That enables you to really, really grow, right? And I'll show you some of the kind of employee numbers we're talking about. From there, you get quite large, and yeah, you need to start to orchestrate across different functional areas. This is where you've grown quite substantially, but now you're starting to get fairly large orders. It's maybe coming in through, perhaps you're providing some kind of a service. Your call center isn't ready for the workload that's going to happen. Your training department hasn't prepared everything that's ready for this level of flow. And so you now have to shift your focus towards the throughput across these various areas and balancing the capacity and the flow through those particular areas, right? At this stage, you're now starting to integrate the silos that you've built, and you start to get leaders in at least 4 of your what we call core pillars. And on the left, you'll see the core pillars are sales and marketing, finance, operations, your people, and your leadership, right? So you're now starting to put people in those areas that actually lead those areas. And once you've been through that, you go through to what we call scale. So you now have a internal operating system that can handle volume and sales, right? So now it's about sustaining the machine, focusing on scaling the operations and balancing the opportunities in the market with the capacity that you have, right? You're starting to have a senior team, right? And you're fully systems driven. And at this stage, you can now really think about reproducing, acquiring, or harvesting the value from your business. Right. So growing and scaling a company is a learnable set of skills. And at each phase, you need to adopt a new mindset and new ways of work. And this is where most people trip up. Okay? The truth is, what got you here won't get you there to the next stage, right? And we tend to double down on what we've been doing because that gave us success, but that becomes the very Achilles heel that stops us from growing to the next level. So most businesses are solopreneurs, and only a few grow to the size of a small business. And I'm talking here about 7 to 10 employees, maybe 4 to 10 million rand. Very few grow beyond that kind of level. And the reality is, if you're stuck in a 5 million rand business, right, it might have been better for you to go and get a job in somebody else's business, because with your entrepreneurial skills, you probably earn more in those, in another company. So 90% of small businesses never grow larger than 10 million turnover per year. And the problem is that most companies just get stuck at predictable plateaus, right? So if that's you right now, just know this, you're not alone. There are thousands and thousands of business owners in exactly the same position. They're stuck at a plateau, right? And we call those plateaus stall points. Okay? Those are almost glass ceilings that you're bouncing your head against, and you just can't seem to break through those glass ceilings, right? So the first sort of level is where you start up, you're in that infancy phase, you're a sole trader. It usually gets stuck when you start looking at that first employee. you start to struggle to grow beyond, beyond that point. If you get beyond that point, then often you grow your business and you develop maybe a team of 4, maybe up to 10 employees, all directly reporting to you, helping you to deliver what you need to deliver. And that can be a nice little business, but you're starting to work yourself quite hard. And there's a total dependency on you to continue to grow, right? Problem is you've also maxed out most of your time. Okay? So in this stage, you start to hit a glass ceiling, and that ceiling is really your own capacity. That's where you're starting to fall flat, but you don't often see that. Business owners in that stage don't see that they are actually the bottleneck, right? Then if you manage to break through that, and that's where most smaller businesses are really trying to break through, is that ceiling, you can then move into what I call a private enterprise. Okay, so you're now moving into that order stage, okay, where you grow to from 11 to 75 employees. Okay. That can be a very, very nice stage of growth. It can be very profitable, and it can deliver a really, really nice, business for you. And from there, then the next stage of growth, or the next store point, it happens at about 75 employees. But if you get through that, right up to 250 employees, you become a small mid-tier business. So my focus is really about helping people move from the small business to this private enterprise. This is the area where I specialize, not in startups, but in existing business owners who want to make this particular shift, right? So the majority of small businesses don't move beyond that infancy and the helter stage. So they remain sole traders or small, what I call small businesses. The most difficult transition for a business owner is growing from a small business into a private enterprise. And I'll explain just now why that's the case. But the wrong mindset and not having the appropriate tools and frameworks and working on the wrong things stalls any small business evolving into a private enterprise. So to progress and to succeed in the next phase, you must make the shift from an entrepreneur mindset to the mindset of a CEO. That's a key thing, right? So how to break through and up-level a small business into that private enterprise, right? So there are 5 strategies that you generally need. The first one is from entrepreneur to CEO. And if you do this, you can double your company in 12 to 36 months guaranteed, right? You will definitely be able to do that, right? And I'm just going to touch on how to do that. The second one then is, the second strategy is you need to systemize your business so that you can build repeatability, predictability, and profitability into your business. Okay? When you've got different people in your organization all doing things their own way, because they think that's the way they want to do it, you'll never have consistency, you'll never have predictability, right? And you'll never have repeatability. Because if that person leaves and a new person comes in, they want to do it their way in a totally different way. It's got different implications, different costs, different impact internally, different impact on your clients. You can never get that right? So you want to you want to systemize the business, right? These are the processes. This is how we do A, B, C, D, E. This is how we deliver. This is how we package. This is how we do this, right? So you want to build that repeatability and predictability in your business. The third strategy at this stage is build a team. Because if you're going to shift from entrepreneur to CEO type of thinking, you've got to realize that you can't do it all on your own. So you now need to start to get people in, the right people in, who are going to help you to get into that private enterprise phase of growth, right? Strategy 4 is you've got to build strategic traction. Okay? So I'm going to show you now, moving from entrepreneur to CEO isn't just a mindset thing. It's also a physical shift in the way you work, how you spend your time during your day and your week, what you do, the things you work on, right? And those things need to get executed if you want to have your business grow. Okay? So you need to get your team to help you execute on your vision, right? Without any stress and drama. Right? And remember, they're very much focused on ops and delivery, right? So strategy 5 then is decommoditize your business. You've got to be unique and sell more, sell faster, and at higher margins. Right? For many businesses that hit that small business plateau, part of the problem is themselves, right? Is the entrepreneurial mindset that made you so successful up to there. But for others, you might have a lot of demand, but you can't get to the ceiling. For others, they can't get through the ceiling simply because they're commoditized, right? So if you've got an accounting firm and it looks the same as the next accounting firm, it's going to be hard to grow through that particular ceiling. So strategy number 1 is moving from the entrepreneur to CEO level of work. That's a big shift because you're in that helter-skelter stage, right? Your focus has really been sales. You've got 4 to 10 employees, let's say. You've grown your client base and you're now focusing heavily on serving that client base. There's a lot of demand coming generally from that client base. Your time is starting to be constrained. You can't break through the ceiling, right? What you now need to do to make this big shift is move into that order phase, which is the start of real growth, which is predictability, repeatability, systemization. And the things that you need to work on is you firstly need to start to work on your vision and your strategy. Where are you taking this business? What's it going to look like in 3 years' time? Nobody knows what it's going to look like. Nobody's going to know what to help you build. Right? The second thing is that now focuses on the use of your time, and I'm going to show you a little bit more there, and how you create value for your business. Because you can't just continue to work in the operations. You've got to work on different things. Right? You've got to have a team, and you've got to be able to delegate your work to that team. Right? You've got to systemize, and then you've got to make sure that your vision and strategy, that you have a method for getting your team to deliver on that in a winning way. All right. Okay. So let's talk about from entrepreneur to CEO. Right? So yeah, you're going to change your personal game, your game plan, right? You've got to make sure that you get more time, that you get better focus, more control, and have more impact, and maintain your mental health while scaling up, right? So to make that shift, you got to increase your company's results. You got to realize that increasing your company's results 10 times is no longer dependent on your time and effort. Okay, what do I mean by that? Right? So imagine you've got 4 hours of valuable time and you spend 4 hours reading, answering low-value emails, responding to messages, doing admin, firefighting, tending to unproductive meetings, getting involved in operations, all that stuff that most people do. Or you could spend those same 4 hours with a good prospect that results in a new client and brings in some new income. Or you could spend the same 4 hours with a strategic partner that results into the introduction to 20 new, let's say, clients or funders or whatever this year. Which one is the best use of your time, right? You can see the amount of hours used the same, but the work you've done is different and the results are different as well, right? So your biggest luxury is time and attention, because you're so busy. There's so many demands on you from the operations and from your team. You're so heavily involved in the detail of your business that time and attention is your scarce resource, right? So you need to go through 4 steps to start working like a CEO so that you can 10 times your own impact on the business. Right? This is crucial. If you don't make the shift, you're going to really struggle. So the first thing is you've got to change your focus from that operational delivery to focus on creating value. Okay? Like I showed you how you could use your time, you need to know what it is that you should work on that gives you the most value. Right? Then the second thing is you're so busy that you've now got to think about how you can reclaim some of your best time so that you could do number 3, which is invest that time that you're freeing up into your fewer and better things. The things that are going to be game-changing and are going to change your business for you. Those are higher level things, right? And then you've got to structure your week and day to be more predictable and keep a focus on those fewer, better things that you are working on. Because unless you're carving out time and you know what the fewer, better things are, unless you're doing that, you are going to be stuck in the small business syndrome. Right? So this is the first thing you need to do to get out of that entrepreneur mindset into a CEO mindset. Right? Thing is, if you're stuck in the helter-skelter stage, your natural inclination is to focus on more growth. Let's get more sales. Let's get more this. Let's get more there. This is often the wrong thing to do because all that does is it overloads you more as the business owner. Right? And that starts to put a brake on your growth. So paradoxically, if you're at the end of that helter-skelter stage, focusing on growth is actually going to be anti-growth. You need to focus on how to become a CEO, how to free up your time, how to get your team to do more. That's how you start to scale. Right. The second strategy now, right, is to systemize your business, right? To build repeatability, predictability, and profitability in your business. Right? So I love this statement by Michael Gerber. Systems allow ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results predictably. That's the key, predictably, right? So if you've got, it's almost like the lever, you know, if you've got a lever long enough, you can lift the earth, right? So your systems allow you to have that kind of repeatability in your business. And then you become a systems-driven business versus a people-driven business. And by that, I don't mean people aren't important. They're vitally important. But your people don't run the business. Your systems run the business. And your people run the system. The system is the way of doing things, right? And it's a documented process. And there's a whole process to go through to systemize your business. There's 8 or 9 steps to go through. But in essence, what it does is it starts to bottle your best practice. And it starts to get everybody to work according to those best practices so that you have predictability, repeatability, and profitability. Because if you push more work or more business through your company, it will now be handled a lot easier, right? You have a far greater capacity to do business. Okay. The third strategy is you've got to build your team, right? So the team to run the systems. So the whole secret to this is getting the right people doing the right things right? Doing the right things right, your systems should help to make sure that happens, right? So you need to get the right thing. And here is the next mindset shift of the business owner from an entrepreneur to a CEO. As the entrepreneur in a small business, you've hired these people to help you to deliver. Okay? They've all been there to help you. To move into a private enterprise where you might grow up to 75 people and more, you need to shift the way that you think about your role and your team's role, right? So here, you as the business, or the team isn't here to help you as the business owner. You as the business owner are now there to empower the team, right? The team will look after the clients. The clients will look after your business for you, okay? And your business will look after you, the owner. And so it becomes a self-reinforcing virtual cycle, right? So I love Richard Branson's statement, clients don't come first, employees come first. If you take care of your employees, they will take care of the clients. That's the mindset you need to make to shift from that small business to the private enterprise. That also means you need a reliable way of getting people in, because there is such a high rate of mishires where people are brought into the business based on a cup of coffee, that meeting that's been held. And after a couple of weeks, it's apparent that this is completely the wrong person. It's very expensive. It's very debilitating to the business. And so one of the key things that you need to be able to do is to have a system that finds the right people, and make sure that you hire the right people, recruit the right people into your organization. And there's a process called job matching that achieves that. Normally, the stats show if you have a cup of coffee and just look at the CV, you've got about a 50% chance getting the right person in. If you do a proper job matching process, you can get that close to 90. Right? So having a cup of coffee, you might as well flip a coin at 50% and just pick one of the CVs. You've got about the same chance of getting the right person in. Yeah. So there's a 14-step recruitment process that you need to learn and need to apply. I know it takes time, energy, and effort, but that's the role of the CEO, is to make sure you've got systems in place that bring the right people into the right seats. Okay. Strategy number 4, you now have to build strategic traction so that your team can execute on your vision without the drama and stress. So you're freeing up your time. You're starting to work on the higher level breakthrough, game-changing things that will deliver a lot of growth to your business, right? You're carving out more and more of your precious time, slowly but surely, to spend more time working on that. But you've got these concepts, you've got these ideas, you've got these projects that need to be implemented, okay? Your team has been, in the past, focused on operations and delivery, okay? They're not focused on changes in the business. So you need to now start to introduce a method, a system, to strategically execute those changes on top of the operations that you have. Because if you don't change, you can't expect a different result, okay? So there are 3 habits of successful enterprises, and that is, firstly, they normally have a small handful of priorities, not a long list of to-do stuff, a small handful of priorities, the 3 most important things that need to get done. That's what the CEO has spent his time on, right? Then we need some data and KPIs to see if we start to work on those 3 priorities, how are we doing? And then the third thing is we need to have some kind of a cadence or delivery rhythm to make sure that we can deliver the change that we're planning to introduce. Right. So, Tom Siebel, who built Siebel Systems, said the 2 most important decisions a business leader can make: a simple long-term vision. Where do we want to go? All right, that's what the CEO role is, to now think about where we're going, what are the important things we need to do, and deciding a handful of priorities for the next quarter. So in other words, what are the 2 or 3 most important things that we can do, the low-hanging fruit that we can safely and accurately do in the next 90 days? And let's just get stuck into that. Focus all our attention over and above our operations and what we need to do, on delivering those 3 low-hanging fruit things as well. It could be 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things max, right? So the key is you've got to be able to stand back and select a handful of priorities, okay? What's the 1 big thing we need to do this year? And what are maybe the 2 or 3 things we need to get right that if we do that is going to take us to the next level, right? What's our biggest limiting factor holding us back? What's our biggest opportunity in the market, right? What's our biggest risk that we face? We just focus on those kind of things and unpack what that means. We've got our priorities, and then we break those priorities into quarterly plans, right? In other words, 90-day action plans, and we look at what is the low-hanging fruit, what can we achieve in 90 days? And within 90 days, we start to work, and we get the team to execute on those items, and you start to build up a series of successes. You start to build up confidence. You start to build up some impact. And before you know it, your flywheel is starting to snowball. You have to do that to be able to get, that growth that you want. And then you get into a rhythm of delivery, a cadence. So we look, what do we want to do this year? What's our top 3 priorities? CEO's work, right? Then we have a look at, okay, what are we going to do the first 90 days? At the end of the 90 days, we stop, we see what we've done. What's the impact been? Okay, what are we going to do the next 90 days? What's the next set of low-hanging fruit we're tackling? Then we work through those 90 days, stop at the end of that. We look at what we've achieved. We build on our successes. We build some confidence in what we're doing, and then we tackle the next 90 days. And we continue to improve the business through this process, right? Strategy number 5 is decommoditize. In other words, be unique and to sell more, sell faster, and with higher margins. Now, if you're in the helter-skelter phase and you've got a product or service that's in such demand that you just can't keep up, right? But you're struggling to break through the ceiling to the private enterprise, then you probably don't need this for a while. Okay? But there are other businesses that have grown and hit the ceiling because they look like everybody else, like their competitors, and there's no reason why people should choose them. So fast growth for them is not currently available, right? So then you need to decommoditize your business. So you can't be a Me Too business. This is the thing. If you look exactly the same as your competitors, why should anybody choose you, right? So ask yourself openly and honestly, why would anyone choose you over your competition? And if you can't answer that question, then you've got to think about, decommoditizing your business. You've got to make your business stand out utterly and completely from your competitors. Right? You've got to create what we call a market dominating position. So what is that? It represents something you or your business provides to your prospects and customers that no one else in your industry or niche provides. And it's something that your customers or your prospects want. It could be something in the way you service them. It could be speed. It could be the functionality of what you offer. It could be a whole myriad of things, but you've got to find the thing that makes you different and stand out. And that's of value to them. Why do I say that? Because the reality is when people are looking to buy something, they're not really interested in you and your company and what your products are. They're answering this question: what's in it for me? What's in what you're offering for me? Can it solve my problem? Can it help me with what I'm trying to achieve? Right? Okay. So one example here is Banner Box, right? So Banner Box was a packaging, a box company, right? So this boxing company started up with a lot of box competitors, okay? But one of the things that they found is that they had a brand new plant and they could produce, mass produce a whole lot of boxes incredibly rapidly without really having a bottleneck, okay? So then they had to have a look at who's buying boxes and what are the types of problems and challenges people face who are buying boxes. Most of the people who need boxes, companies, already have a box supplier, right? So he figured out he could provide rush shipments for all his customers and prospects without creating an additional bottleneck in production, which his competitors couldn't do, okay, because he had this new plant with new technology, right? So this is what his market dominating position was. I can get you boxes on your dock within 4 hours guaranteed. Okay, so in his geographical target area, he would market to his clients and say, yeah, if you get stuck, I'll get boxes on your dock within 4 hours, right? And he started to play on that. Yeah, if your production line has run out of boxes, who do you call, right? Ever lost a huge amount of profitability because you've run out of boxes and your supplier can't supply them on time? Yeah, call us. We'll get boxes on your dock within 4 hours, guaranteed. So that made him unique, right? Gave him the edge. So you've got to look for an edge. Here's an example of a estate agent. Let's say you in a particular area, you see ads saying, we're estate agents, we buy, sell, rent properties in your area. That's commoditized. Every estate agent does that. No reason to pick you over anybody else. But if somebody says, we help young families buy bigger homes than they think they can afford, right? And they're targeting young families who are moving into particular areas, well, I think they would probably go there first before they go to the others, right? Another example, let's say you're in the construction industry and you're looking for an attorney to litigate against someone. You come to websites, etc. They say, we do litigation, conveyancing, commercial contracts, and any general legal services. Every commercial attorney has got that on their website. Versus, we specialize in litigation for the construction industry. We won't take on your case unless we're fairly sure we'll win. And when we do, we won't charge you a cent until we've won. And then we'll only charge you a percentage of the award, right? Where are you going to go to? Which one's offering you the most value? Which one's got the market dominating position? Okay. So decommoditize your business to help you to get the growth, the sales in growth. Now, remember that the purpose of decommoditizing is so you can sell more, you can sell faster, and at higher prices and earn higher margins. If you're going to grow and scale your business, you can't do it on razor-thin margins, because all you're doing is you're setting yourself up for doubling your problems. If there's something that happens in the market, a new competitor comes in, or you're under price pressure, you know, your bigger business, all of a sudden your margins collapse in a bigger business. So you want to become profitable as you can, lift your margins by decommoditizing. Right, so the summary of breaking through from a small business to a private enterprise, strategy 1, you've got to move from being an entrepreneur to a CEO. And if you work on the right things, and if you carve out the time to do so, and there are a lot of tools to help you decide what you must work on, the high value things, you can double your company in 12 to 36 months. Strategy 2, systemize your business. Build repeatability, predictability, and profitability in your business so that you can scale and have that, you know, repeatability as you put more volume through your business. Strategy 3, build your team. Get the right bums into the right seats to run the systems that you are building. Yeah. Strategy 4, build strategic traction. Get your team to execute on your vision without drama or stress. And strategy 5, decommoditize. Make sure you're unique so that you can sell more, you can sell faster and at higher margins. So there are various stall points. Breaking through the glass ceiling is a big challenge. Most businesses struggle to get through from that helter-skelter stage to the order stage, or from being a small business to being a private enterprise, right? You've got to change your focus. You've got to change your priorities. And you've got to overcome the key obstacle that's preventing you from making that transition, which is shifting from entrepreneur to CEO mindset and ways of work. Right? So the key questions to ask at this point is, which phase of growth are you in right now? What are your priority focuses? Are you focusing on the right things? Right? Are you still trying to push growth in the helter-skelter stage when you should be thinking about how to move into the next phase, which means you need to do different focus on different things? What should your focus actually be right now? Right? And then you can ask yourself, so what must change? And what new priorities do you want to set yourself for the next 90 days to make that happen? So if you answer those kind of questions, you will start to get a much better idea as to where you are and what you need to do next. Okay? Then ask yourself this: what would life look like for you if you broke through from a small business to a private enterprise? What would it mean for your revenue? Okay? What would it mean for the time that you now have available? What would it mean? Would it give you more joy? A business that's far more exciting and pleasurable to run than one where you like a headless chicken trying to fulfill the operations every day. And more freedom. Right? So more money, more time, more joy, more freedom. Okay. Right. And if you'd like to, if you feel you're stuck and you'd like to give me a call to have a chat, feel free to do that. I'm happy to have a look at where you are stuck at this point in time and give you some advice as where to go.